Welcome to the Kashmir Notebook, a special Frontline broadcast with Gowhar Geelani. This is our 12th episode, as you are aware that this series began in April last year. Why is Kashmir referred to as Iran-e-Saghir, or the prototype of Iran, or tiny Iran? What are Kashmir's spiritual, cultural, and historical links with Iran? To discuss all of this in detail, especially in the context of the ongoing war in West Asia or the larger Persian Gulf, we are delighted to have with us Professor Noor Ahmed Baba, who is an expert on politics and geopolitical relations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to have you also.
So, Mr. Baba, we are witnessing a war before us, and
Yes.
there's a lot of tragedy unfolding in front of us. And we have seen that in Kashmir, there have been widespread protests, demonstrations, and in the past couple of days, we have seen Kashmiri men and women donating a lot of money, even gold, ornaments, jewelry, and copper, utensils for Iran, and kind of making large donations. How is Kashmir affected by Iran, and what are Kashmir's links with Iran? How do you analyze the passion involved for Iran in Kashmir?
Thank you very much, Gowhar Sahab. You have given me opportunity to say things which are not very well known. Our connections with Iran that date back almost to the early communities in Kashmir, almost 5,000 years before, Neolithic communities. Neolithic communities are supposed to have come mostly from Central Asia, and which included Iran also. So that it starts from there. Then when Aryans came about 1500 BC, they also came through the route of Iran. That's our second one. Third most important thing, with the founding of Sassanid Empire in Iran, this was first major global empire to come into being. They had Kashmir became part of them through what was then Kandahar to Afghanistan, and we were under their influence for a long time, control. And then there are permanent marks of that period, which we don't generally realize. It was till then Kashmir was supposed to be a more of a tribal formations, no central authority. They united us. We became one single political unit. That was that contribution of that period. Till then, Kashmir was settled by different levels, mostly on Karavas, and there were separate formations in tribal nature, divided. But then the first central authority in Kashmir was created during, and that's why we see mostly the history is starting from there. That historical period also of Kashmir starting from there. A written record also came. The writing was introduced by them in Kashmir. So that's why that was followed Buddhism, etc. But then Kashmir to be always remained because it was more connected to its northern western borders. And Eastern also, China also, we have always been connected to. So these connections have been strong even before the coming of Islam. It's not that Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Even some of the Hindu kings had ministers and army generals drawn from Central Asia. And Central Asia was included. It was at Iran.
So, Baba Sahab, if we come to
Then,
the spiritual part of it, for example, a lot of travelers, spiritual masters, and even saints have come. Yeah,
I was coming to that.
Okay.
I was coming to that. See, when Islam came to these regions, Muslims started coming here. We have records of Muslims being in Kashmir from 8th century. It was a great, and some of them gained very high positions. And towards 14th century, early 14th century, we had Shahmir as a minister of the Hindu kings. They introduced him. So they were elite. They had already constituted elite here. And it was during that period, because of the internal corruption in the regime, There were problems of various sorts which cannot be explained here. Islam got gradually, and you have a very interesting case which defies general historical processes. That one of the kings here in 14th century, who was a Ladakhi basically, Rinchen Shah, got converted to Islam. It's not to top down, it is bottom up.
Bottom up.
It's Kashmir's, in fact, I recall Balraj Puri, one of the important scholars of Kashmir studies, who is no more, unfortunately. He has mentioned this. The distinctness of Kashmir's Islam is that it did not come from top. It came down from top, bottom to top. So that's the uniqueness in which Islam was introduced in Kashmir. So gradually, that it was before that, and it was possibly around 10th century or earlier, that Muslims, traders were always, Kashmir was hub of trade, and they was always connected for trade travelers, etc., would always visit here from Central Asia, and there were strong ethnic connections also, going back to 5,000 years. So these ethnic connections, they were reinforced. There were lingual connections. Kashmiri language had northern origins. It had influences from there.
Coming to this language aspect, I have a specific question.
I'm coming to language there.
No, I just wanted to, because I don't want to forget this. My uncle, for example, my uncle's generation or my father's generation, this generation knew Persian language very well.
That I'm coming to. That I'm coming to at a later stage.
Okay.
Let's go to back and come. Then with the coming of, that was, we had Muslim saints, Sufis, visiting Kashmir along with the traders and gradually there was an important social segment that had developed. That were Muslims. We have historical records, which were differently named as, even in Kalana's Raj Taragni. He mentioned even Lalta Ditya having a minister, have somebody in his cabinet. And then Harish, there were other kings that had generals from even in 9th, 10th century. 8th century onwards. We have had strong, even people would employ Central Asians in their armies. And they came up to higher commands also in the army. So this was a continuous phenomenon. There was a continuous interaction. There was an interaction at the level, at social level. There were visitors from there, and there was some pockets of Muslim influence in Kashmir right from 10th century onwards. It was by 14th century, this influence had become larger, even though not majority. And it was around that time that Rinchen Shah converts to Islam under the influence of one saint, Bulbul Shah, who is known Bulbul Shah, and we have his Khanaka in Bulbul Lanka,
the shrine,
even today. And then this process continued. And with this was established Muslim Sultanate. Shahmir, who was a minister there, because of the series of events and the turbulence and at that time instability, he was able to lead government with the support of ministers and large sectioners. Because even I remember this Premnath Bajaj writing that he had tremendous social acceptability. Because till then you had several centuries of instability in Kashmir.
So he enjoyed social sanctity.
He enjoyed it. He was a very merited, talented person who was able to consolidate and bring peace to the region. So with that was established first Muslim dynasty in Kashmir.
The Shahmiri dynasty.
Shahmiri dynasty, which lasted for several centuries. And we had very golden examples of like
Sultan Zainul Abidin,
Zainul Abidin, who did a lot of good. We should have
also known as
remnants of
Badshah.
his influence. And while with the establishment of this empire, this activity of Sufis from Central Asia continued. And one of the eminent and most prominent visitor to state was Sayyid Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani.
Hamdan, a province from Iran.
He is the Hamdan province from Iran. So his influence is supposed to be
the turning point
in the sense that he was able to shape up Muslim influence among the elite in most of the urban centers in Kashmir. And with this and with it, he had links with the royalty, and that with the support of that royalty, his influence became very dominant. So he was followed by his son.
So, Professor Baba, like whatever has been happening in Kashmir, especially given the context of larger silence from 2019, so you are not surprised that people have erupted over Iran?
No, there is no, because now what happens is Persian is also introduced as official language in Kashmir, but it did not remain official language. Persian, the difference between Sanskrit and Persian is Sanskrit never penetrated. It was an official language till then, but it had not penetrated down in society. It was mostly an elite language and language of scholarship, great scholarship. But Persian became not only because it was already there. In Iran, Persian is not only royal elite language. It is a language of
person's language.
It had took similar form in Kashmir also, and we have examples of great scholarship and great literary figures being born. One of them eminent poet, Ghani Kashmiri, who is recognized as authority on Persian and Persian literature, Persian poetry. So this was a continuous process, and it has continued till very recently, because Persian continued to be official language in Kashmir in spite of the change of regimes. After Shamirs, Mughals came, Persian was the official language. After them, Sikhs came, under Pathans came first.
The Afghan rule.
Afghan rule, of course, there was also Persian was language.
Even during the Dogra period.
Then Sikhs came. They also had Persian as the official language. There was lingua franca all across subcontinent.
We have the Dogra period roughly from 1846 to 1947.
I'm coming to 47, that also. Because it had become, Sanskrit has become, Persian had become lingua franca in the entire subcontinent, irrespective of religious denominations, etc. In Kashmir also it was same. Even then Sikhs came, they had this official language in their mainland, Punjab. They had this official language in Kashmir also. After them, even Dogra rule. During the Dogra rule, for at least almost 40-50 years, 4 decades. This some decades, not exactly, I'm not sure, about 2-3 decades. It was Ranbir Singh who changed it into Urdu, because by this time Urdu had emerged and Urdu was emerging as a major language in their subcontinent. So he shifted to that.
So let's come to another aspect of it. We are seeing these protests in Kashmir, widespread protests, not only in pockets of Kashmir, but widespread protests. And also this, organized donations being offered by women and men and even children. They are like breaking their piggy banks to donate for Iran. So you explained the entire context why.
I mentioned official level. Now I'm talking about the social.
Okay, that's what I'm coming to. Why my question was about.
Persian penetrated into society. And much of the religious literature, the manqabats,
even in the mosques,
it had become Persian. It had become I think it was almost a mass language. Till my
in Maulud gatherings, I remember childhood, like if you had 5 manqabats, 3 would be in Persian language.
Mostly they would be. I remember my mother was illiterate. I would say, if you define
unlettered.
Not unlettered exactly, but she was not educated formally. But she had learned, her father had taught her Persian, Karima Namiha, she remembered much of it, some of the verses. I would also still remember. She also had, along with her, this Gulistan Bostan. And I have seen that, I preserved that afterwards. Now I am not sure where it is. So this was, my father would recite poem, even though he was not very literate in Persian.
I think even in the graveyards, we see the couplets that are written on epitaphs. They're also mostly in Persian in that.
Our idioms, our would be mostly very Persian. We still said, Rahi Rao Garchi Durast. We still have that, those kinds of things.
Yar Zinda Sohbat Baki.
Yar Zinda Sohbat Baki. So this kind of thing, this is with
survival is subordinate.
It penetrated into our subconscious.
Subordinate to survival.
We shouldn't have, when we organize some religious gathering, we in Kashmir, in the Sufi gatherings, most of them, what they recite is in Persian.
They quote Jami,
Hafiz.
Yeah.
Hafiz, I had my mother, possibly, I don't know, father had Hafiz's Diwan, I had at home. So this was our inheritance. This had penetrated at all levels of society. So Persian influence has been tremendous.
Amir Khusro's Khat-e Sabzo.
We know Islam through Persia. Even Islam, it's not only Muslims. We have Pandit community.
Kashmiri Pandits, yeah, they speak fluent Persian.
Retained bureaucracy during Muslim period, Shamiri period, Mughal period,
Chak dynasty,
this Sikh period, Pathan period. They were controlled because of their mastery of the Persian. They were much better off. They have produced some of the great scholars of Persian literature. So it had penetrated deep. Even some of the Persian teachers I have seen who would be very well versed with Persian verses.
There is also one of the verses from Allama Iqbal, the poet of the East, Shair-e-Mashriq, in which he mentions about Iran, that what if, he expresses a desire, what if Iran was the center, like Geneva, it gained the political centrality instead of Geneva.
It had, because it was we don't.
And Iqbal is known as Iqbal Lahori in Iran.
One of the few civilizational points in current day, it has a continuity. It has continuity of several thousand years of civilization. So this was an prominent power. Where at one time Iran included much larger than what is present day Iran.
Even the Balkh province in Afghanistan, where Maulana Jalaluddin
after Kashmir, I would say at one time it was after even Kashmir. It was almost whole of Central Asia. It was parts of possibly present day Turkey, much of Iraq. It was a large state.
6,000 years of civilization.
6,000 years of civilization.
So, Baba Sahab, let's come
one of the earliest empires built, which was commemorated by former Shah of Iran also.
Let's come to the politics of it, the larger politics.
Now, why is this? We are deeply sentimentally attached to Iran.
I have to ask this question because I also want to connect it to the larger, geopolitical happenings that are there. That is, like, how you are seeing this war unfolding right now, and what are its implications if the war in Iran prolongs? What could be the implications on, first, the West Asia and also on South Asia, including India, Pakistan? How do you see this?
See, Iran, I'll start from Kashmir.
Sure.
Kashmiris see it not only as a cultural, cultural affinity, but also as a war which is in terms of justice, norms of justice.
Justice versus injustice.
Justice versus. There's no reason that Iran should have been. Muslim factor also comes in. There's a Muslim sentiment also. We have Islam is an important component of Kashmir's identity, and there's special cultural affinity. And Islam in Kashmir was introduced through Persian and Iran. So that is our relationship. That's why you find that sentimental attachment. So it's very facets of it. this arrangement. Now, looking to Iran's, it is. I would say now, as I turn my coat, I become expert as a
Political scientist, yeah.
Political scientist. There are number of sides of it. See, the American hegemony, as it was shaped through post-colonial era, they have always wanted to shape up world from their perspective, and they have made several such experiments in past also, but they have failed. There's limited of, even though it was supposed till few years back, we said that America is the sole superpower, but in spite of that characterization, it has had failures. It had failure in Vietnam. It had failures in
even Afghanistan,
Iraq. It had failure Iraq. It has not been able to shape up global things. It is overextended sometimes, but it has some kind of amnesia.
Isn't US repeating the mistakes?
It is US repeating the mistake, but here it is something
multipolarity.
It's something more also. That's I'm coming to multipolarity also. There are multiple facets of it. There is other, because there is such Israeli factor, which I will come slightly later. That also has to, because it is Israeli thinking, which does not, in their own larger understanding of the region and the world, Iran as a stable country does not suit from their policy perspective. But it has no rationality in it. Then they have, because they have the guardian America, and they are both ways influencing each other. So Trump, in his own narrow understanding of politics and forgetting about the past experience, he has also got into this without proper planning and proper thinking. Now, these are the comments, it's not me saying. Many of his close aides and
the top guys has resigned.
Top guys, and many of the university, I listen to many of the experts from US universities, American citizens. They say, now what is the impact of it? Now they thought they would be able to change regime. This is a sort of,
especially after the assassination of Imam Khamenei. After assassinating Imam Khamenei, they thought the Iranian regime will collapse.
They will change. They will eliminate regime at the top, and things will change.
It didn't happen.
Yes, it did not happen that way. Now, then it has gone more than 3 weeks by now. And it has tremendous global implications. Iranians have played very wisely, because which Americans did not possibly estimate. They may not have sufficient resource, but they have ingenuity in technology they have been able to create, and the preparations in the kind of unfavorable world order they have delivered in.
And also
under sanctions, all
resistant
US unhappiness towards the regime for last 40 years or so. And they have been suffering that. But in spite of Iranian people are very ingenious people. I have traveled to Iran once at a seminar. I find how ingenuity and what kind of, they have highest level, one of the highest levels of education,
scholarship
in Iran, and scholarship, of course. And so now we see what they give these drone technology. They are more advanced. They are supplying it to Russia, who was supposed to be one of the major global, second to United States till only recently. So they are able to that, and they have been able to do, and they are strategically playing. They understood what kind of challenges they have.
So now two connected questions. If Iran survives this war, what will happen?
Second part is, because this is a very sensitive area, they have disrupted. This conflict has disrupted many of the US bases, but that's interests.
The energy
energy, because they control this Hormuz
Strait of Hormuz,
through which much of the global oil passes
through.
And they have also attacked some of the Gulf
military bases
Emirates,
and energy arteries.
arteries, etc. American bases in some of these countries and beyond. So this is, they have disrupted and they have created ripples globally. It's not only, it is not remained
They have
confined
increased
to,
the cost
it is not
for America.
Iran, Iraq war, Iran, American war, American aggression in America. It's not even it is not, it has not been, it can't be even compared with the Vietnam war. They were regional, local in terms of their implication.
Here,
and
many countries are involved.
this time, Iranians have made it into a global affair.
Because Bahrain is included, Qatar is
Not only
included.
global.
Yeah,
Now,
Saudi
every
Arabia.
country far away, whether it is in Indonesia, Japan,
The United Arab Emirates.
They are in the region. They are already
But
impacted,
outside the
because they were attacked. Their bases were attacked. American bases were attacked there. I am saying because of the oil factor,
the energy crisis.
that is followed. Whole globe is impacted. Americans are impacted because they are.
So now two important questions. One, if Iran survives this war, what will happen to South Asia? But if Iran collapses and Israel's dream of hurting Iran or the larger Israel project, expanding the state of Israel by occupying further land in Lebanon or even hurting Iran in some pockets. So what are the implications on South Asia and the entire world in both cases, if Iran survives or if Iran doesn't?
I would say both way. Global order is no longer going to be same. America is not only hegemon now left. There are ripples within Western camp. Many countries, since this Gaza conflict, internal American society is internally
divided.
You have women, you have youth who are changing their opinion. The traditional support, the consolidated support base that America had, and then Western countries. Many Western countries have distanced from even on this conflict. And
Spain, for example, Spain was the first one.
Other countries at different levels, at social level, at governmental level. Governmental level, it may be less slow, but at social level, it's much deeper. It's going to.
For example, NATO's withdrawal from Iraq. It was a big thing.
Yes. No, NATO did not participate in this. Because in American Union, Americans also played a bad game for them.
Germany also said we are not going to be part because you did not consult us before the war.
America unilaterally started. They wanted others will follow. This is not how
it did not happen.
International relations are run. During Iraq war, they were at least able to form the coalition. This time, they have not been able to. They want others to follow them. No self-respecting country will follow such a nonsense which America has started. This is all the long-run nonsense. Now, whether Iran fails, even if it fails, this will be global configuration, changed global configuration. Israel's traditional support base in the West is reduced, is marginalized considerably. It's not going to be safe. And Gulf states also will have to rethink
their
because
strategy.
they thought that America will be able to provide them security. But it has become liability.
They have become more vulnerable.
They become more vulnerable.
So now another question, Baba sir.
Other factor we should
pay attention to.
The world is slowly moving into different. Multipolarity are coming in.
Are you hinting at China and Russia?
China and Russia. China more particularly. China is, I say IPC, in terms of technological innovation they are making. They are going to overtake America in few. They are already.
Baba sir, you are making sort of a prediction here as because I know you that this is your subject. You are a political scientist of great repute. And are you seeing that this could be the beginning of a decline of the American empire?
No, see, let me tell you, American empire is established on a very strong footing. It has a very huge land mass, very fertile land. It has diversity, but it is undermining its own strength. Now, what has happened? You see comparison. When Trump came, he squeezed universities funding, research institutions. These are not his priority.
Even media houses, big media houses.
Everything. So this is undermining his long-term
strength.
development, long-term. They keeping pace with times. Compared to this, China is investing so much on technology, on innovation, on universities, on research, and new vistas of technology. They are going ahead of America. They are, I'm not an expert in this, but I have seen areas in which they have surpassed America already. And they are doing it. They are continuing to do it.
Where do you see India and Pakistan in all of this, in both cases?
Oh, yes. I think India, there has to be rethink on both sides. See, we are entering into a different phase of the world. India, I think in recent years, had developed closer linkages with Israel and America. They would, and not, Prime Minister Modi did visit Israel because of the
2 days, 2 days before the war.
Close proximity. Technology is being transferred. They have strong political relationships. But now they thought that they'll be able to manage this without other. Now, post-war, with whatever result, they need to see that their merit in diversification. You can't have all eggs in one pocket. And they've already realized it now. See the government of India's policy in early few days of the war and subsequently, it has been changing.
Do you think the shutting down of Strait of Hormuz has actually made many countries, reaching their foreign policy?
Possibly had not thought of the consequences of the war. They may have possibly, there was a...
Has then Iran surprised everyone?
Who said that possibly Modi knew about what was going on.
But has Iran surprised everyone, including America?
If he had known the consequences, what consequences are going to be there for Indian economy, for some Pakistani economy.
For global economy.
For global economy as such. There are several facets of this conflict and its impact. See, though India has almost 1 crore of 10 million or more Indian working in different countries of the Gulf.
In the Gulf, yeah.
Gulf. They send huge amounts of remittances to India. They are at risk. See, if these economies, these states collapse, their economies collapse, they will not be able to sustain this kind of thing. They have that. See, they are not drawing this money from Israel, but they have been drawing
from the GCC.
Very substantial amounts of money.
From the GCC.
They had very deep cultural linkages they are working with Gulf states, with Iran traditionally.
Especially states like Kerala, which like...
Yes. Every city and almost there are, but of course there is some variation. Kerala, it is South people are there more possibly compared to, but there is tremendous advantage India has in having a diversification of the relationship.
So now
there is another dimension of it. Another lesson that one should draw, whether it's Pakistan or India, that you can't win wars. Even if Iran loses, Americans are not winning. Israelis are not winning. Because they are not going to shape up reality or expertise. So winning war is not an
option.
Any violence. I say I have written it for a long time. I don't know whether in 2018-19 I started. Even earlier I had written, but more specifically in early 2019, I written a series of articles. Violence is not an option. Whether it is private violence, internal violence, or
at
state
a global
violence,
scale,
intrastate violence. This doesn't solve problems. It creates more problems.
So
this is what Americans would not have realized it. Possibly Netanyahu, of course, he had a very much more narrow agenda.
What is the larger game? What is the end game for Israel?
Israel. It's a very long history. Maybe we can
do a separate program on Israel, but yeah, briefly.
Israel is wanting to have uncompetitive, very dominant sway on the region, so that they play in the region. Every time they found there was a challenge, they have tried to marginalize it. It began in
1960s, late 60s,
late 60s.
67.
Till then, they had realized that they're invincible because they always defeated Arabs. In 73, first time they realized that there was a challenge. Then they started using diplomacy and war as a combination of
Carrot and stick
first
policy.
thing they did is took Egypt. Egypt was the only major power which could have challenged it. They tied it to Camp David Agreement in 78 through President Carter of United States. Diplomacy started earlier, but our culmination was that it was taken out of the conflict. Then gradually other countries
and then the Abraham Accord,
and wherever there was pockets of resistance, they have been
dismantled, marginalized.
Syria, Lebanon. And gradually either they have marginalized them, destroyed them, or they have made them allies with them. That's what they did to most of the Gulf states. Only the lately, and lately for a long time,
the resistance was coming from Palestinian
Palestine.
And,
they also
and Lebanon.
They divided them. It's a different issue altogether. They took Yasser Arafat also made a peace. Only made peace. Took him away from his traditional course of politics, came him into an agreement. And subsequently, they did not respect those ideas.
The establishment of Palestinian Authority
without any
West Bank and Gaza was different, where Hamas controlled.
Any meaningful power. So, that Palestinians were internally divided, they were neutralized. Egypt was neutralized, Gulf states were neutralized.
But isn't it
other states were
big
neutralized.
allegation on Iran also
they were
about
destroyed.
supporting the resistance in Palestine and also Lebanon
from revolution
through Hezbollah or Hamas and also
from Iranian
Houthis in Yemen.
In 79. Iran changed. Till then, Iran was had already had diplomatic relations with Israel. Then they broke and said that they stood for Palestinian rights, and they tried to undermine Israeli state for as done. So since then, this tension has been going on.
So we'll come to the Greater Israel some other day.
Well, they have neutralized almost all resistance in the region for their long-term hegemonic or expansionist agenda. Iran remained the sole point of resistance and potential threat in the long run.
So we are now
in the region of West Asia.
I think
so. What they wanted is they wanted to destroy the regime. This regime, either create a new regime, marginalize its strength, its resource, its infrastructure. That's what they started in October last year. Then it was a short term, but they made 4 preparations, took Americans more into confidence, and Trump became also was taken on board and started this war, possibly thinking they had penetrated into Iran.
So let's wind it up now.
Within intelligence agencies and outside. Socially, they thought that they have mobilized people will come in revolt and there'll be revolution in Iran. And internally, they had taken pockets whereby they were able to prevail on it. But they did not understand the
culture of resilience of
Iran. One is cultural resilience. Second is the command structure.
And also the will to survive.
And their strategy, they have the kind of preparations that Iranians seem to have made. They have
I think on that, Baba Sahab, there is a larger consensus right now that Iran's culture of resilience and their civilization, 6,000 years of civilization, 6,000-year-old civilization, and also how Iran has learned from past wars and past periods of conflict, and that's why it may have surprised America and Israel the way it has responded. But let me come to the last concluding part of it, that the Iranian embassy in Delhi has particularly thanked people of Kashmir for donations. I think on that note, we could end the program.
That's because of the culture. See, as I said, there are several aspects to it. Our deep cultural relationship. Then more at the forefront of it would be possibly Shia population in Kashmir, because there's a important. Now we have unity on that. It's not that we don't have Kashmir.
There is larger Sunni Shia unity on this.
Thankfully, Kashmir does not have Shia Sunni conflict in the manner in which it may be in some other place.
countries, yes.
But we have a basic element of solidarity as Kashmiris. We have had deep cultural influences across communities and sects in Kashmir. Not only Shia who were influenced, Sunnis were more. We have much great scholarship in Persian among Sunnis in Kashmir. So much greater literature, amount of literature is there. So that's there. Third is that people see it as an unjust war. It's not we. American, there's
even non-Muslims,
across. It is not. It's not. It doesn't have necessarily. It may have some extra element in here, but there are other places world over. There are demonstrations coming out in Europe against the war.
At a larger level, it is justice versus injustice.
Justice versus injustice. Yes. And now many people in America are saying that we are playing Israeli here. We have nothing to do with this war. And it is an unjust war. We sound for support of Palestine. Many students, leaders in universities suffered in America.
Many American professors are saying it on record.
Now all across, I have seen that a lot of American scholars and professors speaking against their own government, against the policies of the government.
Trump administration.
In favor of a just solution to Palestinian problems. It's all across, starting from Pacific to Atlanta. Now Japan also has changed. So every country which was traditionally with Israel, now from 47 or 48 almost, that Israeli state was created. Israel had very solid support in the Western camp. You see, voting behavior also now is changing. And it's not going to be.
It got weapons from Slovakia, even with weapons embargo at that time.
New powers, new equations emerging. I think it will lose.
So, Professor Baba, thank you very much for your insights. I hope that people watching this program would benefit a lot from the thoughts expressed by Professor Baba, who is an expert on politics. He's a political scientist and expert on geopolitical affairs. And all those who have been watching the Kashmir Notebook since April last year, as you're aware that this is the 12th episode of the Kashmir Notebook, please do write to us. Please do express your opinions and feedback and tell us how to improve this program. Thank you very much for watching.